All right. It's been a minute, but we're back.
Few minutes.
Jessica Ethridge, Kasie Whitener here, to go live with you guys for just a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the 2026 midterms and getting in the game, because that's really what it's all about. It's the Libertarian Moms. We're back. All right. If you had been a watcher of the Parenting Porcupine show and Libertarian Moms, you know we're missing our third, which is Melissa. And Melissa is actually really busy right now. She's the second vice chair of the South Carolina Libertarian Party. And the hardest working person in the party always is Melissa. So she's really busy doing that. And Jessica and I are candidates for office. And so we are not busy working inside the Libertarian Party. In fact, we're busy working with constituents outside the Libertarian Party. So I'm Kasie Whitener. I'm running for U.S. Senate. I have been campaigning all over the state since March 29th of 2025. The campaign in the beginning was approaching sort of, you know what, we'll get into strategy here in just a second. And Jessica Ethridge is a candidate for District 4 for this United States Congress for the House of Representatives. So District 4 is in the upstate. Jessica, tell everybody just a little bit about the towns that you guys cover in District 4.
So District 4 covers the majority of Greenville County. It's all but, I think, maybe about a fourth. There's a little portion at the bottom of Greenville. And then the majority of Spartanburg. I think there's a little pocket in, I think, the northeastern corner that's part of another district. So it's pretty much Greenville and Spartanburg. So all the towns in those counties.
Right on. Who's the incumbent there? Or is that person running for re-election?
William Timmons. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's running for re-election. Is he Republican?
Yeah, he's Republican. And there is a Democrat, a young lady who is seeking candidacy there. Her name is Courtney McLean. She's out of Spartanburg. She's an impressive young lady. So it'll be
interesting. Young lady, younger than we are?
She's very young, yes. I think she's 25 or she'll
Holy
be 26.
Cow.
Yeah, she's very young. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, good for her to get in the game. That's a big seat to go after at age 25, but good for her.
She's working. I think she's already working in Washington. She works with some lobbyists, I believe. So she's already dipped her toes in the water of the swamp.
Might kind of know the partisan ropes,
yeah,
for lack of a better word. All right. Well, you and I are both libertarians. We have been part of the South Carolina Libertarian Party for a while. I was just sort of kind of going through the credentials, and I was thinking about the first time I was a national delegate. So you and I both been delegates to national convention. We're going on our 4th convention this year. We'll be going to Michigan. But prior to that, we started in 2020 with the Orlando convention, which is where the two of us met because we carpooled down there and stayed together, and we didn't know each other at all when you picked me up, and we just like listened to Hamilton the whole way down to Orlando and got to know each other, and have since, done some good stuff. You ran for lieutenant governor in 2020, which was the 2022, sorry, which was a COVID race, right? Because we were still pretty much under some COVID regulation, COVID stuff in 2022. That was kind of a tough statewide race to be running in, but I appreciate you picking up the willingness to do that. What did you learn from that first campaign that you feel like you'll take into this one?
I think the main takeaway was that there is no help for third-party candidates. You have to be willing to work twice as hard or more because there is no media exposure. So any visibility you have within the community, it has to be feet on the street. You have to be in the community talking to people, getting to know constituents and getting that face time, which for me was probably my favorite part of campaigning, was just getting to know people and engaging that way. So
We share that. That's my favorite part too. I'm really passionate about that and getting to go and see people. I like to go to the big events. So we've been to festivals and we've been tabling or being in a booth or whatever at different festivals. That's a lot of fun where they approach you and you get to have a conversation with them. I've also been door knocking in places like Conway, where I got to go around and visit a bunch of different business owners there, walk in totally unannounced and just be like, hey, you got a sec? Can we have a conversation? And I find that people are really receptive and that this is an opportunity year. So let's talk a little bit about this. It's the midterm elections 2026, and typically the voter turnout for midterm elections in South Carolina is about 1.5 million voters. So we have 3.5 million voters registered to vote, but the midterm elections see a significantly lower turnout. I don't think that's going to be the case this year. I think we're actually going to see a much higher turnout for two reasons. One, because we are the fastest growing state in the nation, which means a lot of people are relocating to South Carolina, and those people bring with them their own level of political engagement. And the second is because it is the midterm elections during the Trump administration, and there's some, we'll just call it discord, for lack of a better word. There people that are unsatisfied with what they're seeing in Washington right now, and they know that the midterms is a chance to send, if not send somebody new, then to at least send a message to the administration that they're not pleased with what's going on. So that said, I think you and I both have opportunities to be the somebody new that they would. If you really are unhappy with what you're seeing in Washington, stop sending the same people again and again and again, right?
Yeah, expecting a different result.
It's craziness, right? The way we keep electing the same people again and again, and then everybody's all, what's going on? Why is this?
It's like, how many times do they have to show you who they are before you believe them?
Right. So you come in for District 4, and the statement here, and me being in the Senate race, statewide Senate race, the argument is stop voting for the same old stuff, because it really doesn't matter whether it's wearing red or wearing blue. It's the same corrupt duopoly that is driving the country into the ground. Every single decision is about paralysis. It's about debt. It's about warmongering. Like, everything they're doing is driving us into the ground. And people just keep reelecting him again and again and again.
Yeah.
All right. So District 4, what do you think as you're playing around with what you consider to be the biggest issue, or the things that you think are, for you, let's put it this way. What's the reason that you feel compelled to run? And the reason I ask this is because people ask me, like, why are you running for Senate? You've not ever held an elected office before. And the answer I always give is that I went to this She Should Run event years ago, back in 2017. And the women that were hosting the workshop said, the thing that you care about the most, where is that decided? And that's the role that you should run for. And the thing that I care about the most is the national debt. I believe it to be an existential threat. I think neither one of the major parties are talking about it, and we've got to do something about it. And the place that that's decided is in Congress. It's either in the House of Representatives or in the Senate, both of whom are supposed to carry the purse strings. They're supposed to pull back the spending. But I also know that as a libertarian, running for a House seat like you're doing can be a real challenge, because even if you get elected the first time, they'll come at you twice as hard in 2 years. So getting the opportunity, getting enough time to really make a difference in a House seat would be a lot more challenging. And so we'll get to that in a second, because I know you jumped into the House for a specific reason. So I chose the Senate. And this year, Lindsey Graham is up for re-election. So that's the seat that they will primary for. So he's got 2 challengers in the primary. And then there's a handful of challengers on the Democratic side. They have primaries. We don't have a primary in the Libertarian Party. We have a convention. So on April 11th, I'll go in front of the Libertarian Party and ask them officially for their nomination after the filing deadline. The filing deadline is March 31st. So I chose the Senate for that, because the national debt matters to me. That's my big issue. But as I said, the House district it's tough to get reelected and to keep getting reelected. How concerned are you about how much time you'll have to make a difference? And what are your thoughts about getting reelected? Are you somebody that sees yourself being the next Nancy Pelosi and serving for the rest of your life? Or
God, no.
Are there
No.
or
No.
are there specific things you want to do and do these things and then come on home, right?
Well, I think the first hurdle is to get elected, Well, the first hurdle is to get nominated, because I also have
Right.
to get nominated on April 11th to be put on the ballot. But the biggest hurdle is getting elected. But I chose this race. So coming out of 2022, the discussion was around preparing me for a gubernatorial run in this cycle. And we had a lot of plans to um, build up to that race. And some things happened in my personal life that I needed to focus on more. And so that kind of fell by the wayside. And it came time to start really thinking about it. And Steve Dasbach, who is my campaign manager, he has been the campaign manager for a few different campaigns. He was my chair in 2022. He's also chair of the Greenville Party. He's been chair of the National Party, other states. He's been involved for a number of years. He's a wealth of knowledge, but anyways, he asked me about the governor run, and I just told him I didn't want to commit to that because my son is going to be a senior this coming year, and he's a football player, and a statewide race, as I said, as a third party, it's a lot of work, and your feet have to be on the street, and I didn't want to miss any of his senior moments. And so it felt like it was going to be too big. And Steve said, okay, well, what do you think about House? I was like, the House? He said, yeah, for District 4. I said, well, let me think about it. Let me talk to some folks. And so I talked to my kids. I talked to my family. I talked to some of my friends. And overwhelmingly, everyone was encouraging and supportive. And the more I thought about it, the more it made sense, because in South Carolina, the governor is more of a figurehead than anything. The governor doesn't really have a whole lot of authority. Anything that's going to happen is going to happen in our legislative body. And so being a representative in the House, I feel like, even though it is going to be because there's a lot of red team, blue team nonsense, I still think it puts me in a better position to do work for the people of my district, for my neighbors, for my community, for my friends, for my family, and to be able to actually be a representative. So that's what I think moved me toward this race. It just seemed right.
When you think about the difference between holding state office and holding federal office, so and I mentioned this before about there's not any legislative experience. You and I are not attorneys. We didn't go to law school. We're not out there writing legislation. We haven't been lobbyists. We haven't been working in those sort of political machinery, other than having been through our political party and supporting other candidates. We haven't really been part of the machine, so to speak. But on the state level, there are some conflicts of interest for me because I work for the University of South Carolina. And so to be part of the state house, they determine our salary in the state house. So while I love South Carolina and would love to serve at the state level, that's a conflict of interest at being, as long as I'm a faculty member, that's going to be a challenge for me. And then the other piece of that, of course, was the federal debt is the most important thing to me. The state of South Carolina is actually pretty fiscally responsible. We actually do a pretty good job financially. We're one of the few states that does not run a big deficit with the federal government. So we're actually in pretty good shape as far as that's concerned. And we actually tend to have surpluses every year. So, South Carolina is fiscally responsible, which is great. So, that's why I kind of set my sight on the federal side. When you think about the opportunity that being a federal representative gives you to represent your neighbors, that's not the direct representation that the state house would have as far as like making state laws that would affect your neighbors, but it is about representing them in this large body of Congress at the federal level where these big decisions are being made that do ultimately affect not just your district, but our whole state.
Yeah.
The federal job, big job, lots of money, from Team Red, Team Blue. What do you think you need to do to be able to take it on, to be able to win? I mean, what are some things you think we need to put first and foremost, right up front? Because I'll tell you, I know at the very least, my campaign manager thinks fundraising is a really big, important piece.
Oh, yeah.
And part of the thing with the fundraising is to be able to pay for the resources that we need, right? So everything from business cards to posters to yard signs, these kinds of things. But also to be able to demonstrate a seriousness of purpose and to encourage media outlets to pay attention. And you made mention of this before when you said there's no support for third-party candidates. The media doesn't pay attention to third-party candidates, and a good reason, I shouldn't say a good reason, a big reason that they don't is because of lack of funds. And it is a play game to get in there and run ads on traditional media in order to get attention. And so fundraising is a big thing. How do you feel about that? Are you comfortable with fundraising?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's part of the process, you know? So, but I think that's definitely very important. I haven't started doing that yet because I actually just announced, and we're still getting all of my things up and running, my social media, my website, all of that stuff. But it's
Got to have all those
yeah,
digital assets. Yeah.
yeah. The
Got
first
to
big
have all the
initiative is
digital
going to be
assets.
starting to raise that money. A lot of the debates, which we learned in 2022, they will not allow you. You can't qualify to participate in the debate until you reach a certain threshold of contributions. Till your campaign has received so much money in donations. So
right. So I want to pair that with the other side of this question, because of course we're working on fundraising in our campaign too, but what we're trying to do is be very fiscally conservative and only raise the money that we absolutely have to have. We're not trying to pay operatives in every single county to go out and do the work of the campaign. We're not trying to pay door knockers. Like we're not out there trying to outspend our major party counterparts. Like that's just not what we're about. We're trying to raise enough money to meet our needs. I think of this as like an entrepreneurial venture. We're in a startup. So we have processes and things like that we need to get in place. We have some assets that we need to be able to purchase. We have some things that we need to be able to do. We need the means and the resources to do those things. But none of us is a career agent in this campaign. Even my campaign manager, this is not a career for her. This is something she's willing to do because she supports me and she wants to be behind what I'm trying to do. This is not for us about career moves, unless, of course, when we get elected, of course, we'll have to career move into being a senator. But until that point, right, like that's not, we're not trying to raise a lot of money for the purpose of paying people to do some kind of political machine work. That's not what this is about. And I think that's the difference between, I had somebody who works for one of the Democrat campaigns tell me that candidate was expecting to had outraised, I can't remember what it was, but it was whoever the candidate was talking about how much they had raised, and they had out fundraised Lindsey Graham in the last quarter.
I saw that.
And my response to that was like, but why? Like, what are you
doing with
this?
it?
What are you doing with the money?
Yeah, what are you doing with it?
Are you hiring people in South Carolina? Are you creating jobs in South Carolina?
Are you supporting local businesses?
Are you buying from local businesses, right? Are you holding events and paying those event venues and things like where is the money going? And so for full transparency, we posted our first FEC report this month, and we are going to be posting our balance sheet on the website so people can see not just how much money we brought in, but exactly how much money we spent and where we spent it, so that they can see that we're not, I want to be fully transparent with how this money is coming in and how it's being spent, not just for my donors, they deserve it, right? But really for people who are considering, like, why is there so much money in politics? It's because there's a lot of people who work in politics and they want to get paid. And so they're out there all the time raising money to try to get themselves paid.
Well, and I think it's important too to show the voters how we're different, how we are not the same, and differentiate ourselves from the two major parties by showing them how we're different, right? And showing them how we would operate, because giving them that transparency during your campaign that's a sneak peek into how you would operate as a representative, right? And so I think that's one of the things that in all of my conversations with my campaign team that has been really important to me is that that I remain authentic, that I am true to who I am. No masks. I want people to see Jessica for who Jessica is.
Fully
Vote for
embrace
me,
that.
then
Yep.
it's not my time, you know? But I think it's really important. I love that you're doing that because I think it's important to show people that there are people who are serious about doing these jobs, representing them, that have the leadership skills and who are serious about it, that are not typical politicians. Because I do think people are really tired of politicians.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think people are tired of the career political infrastructure, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think that was, what's been surprising to me over the last 6 weeks or so is like how much transparency has come out. Like, how many, actually, I should say that over the last 6 months, how many people who are inside Washington have started turning around and looking at the camera and going, this is not how it's supposed to be. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be like this. It's not supposed to be all about these, omnibus bills. It's not supposed to be, government's not meant to move quickly and solve everybody's problems. Government is meant to be very slow, and it's meant to be something that is a stabilizing force. So why are we seeing all of this instability instead? Why are people, why is there so much fighting, so much, we're in a government shutdown right now, right? Why is there this kind of strife? And it is all to drive the fundraising. That's all it is. It's all to drive the fundraising. All it does is generate more revenue for the Democrats and the Republicans. If they can continue to fight, they can continue to fundraise. And I'll never forget last year when back in 2025 when President Trump had done something about Harvard. It was something like pulling their federal funding from Harvard. And I got text messages from Gavin Newsom saying that President Trump had attacked the institutions of knowledge in this country and he needed to be able to fight against this. And could he please have money from me, right? But then I also got text messages from Republicans saying that President Trump had finally struck a blow against the liberal woke, whatever it was, right? And like they needed more money to be able to fight the liberal ideology. Like I was like, this is, and that Harvard was fundraising too. You know what I mean? Like, Harvard was calling all of their donors going, hey guys, look, we're going to have to fight the federal government. We're going to need some more money. So when you follow that logic and you go, wow, all of this kerfuffle, all of it is about being able to raise money so that they can pay the political operatives who work inside their businesses, because that's really what they are. They're businesses. There should be some sort of, I don't know, it feels like red pilling or blue pilling, where all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, wow, that is just a big machine and I don't want to give it my coins anymore.
I think a lot of people are getting there too. The waking up.
I think so too. Another thing that's coinciding with this year that I think makes this a really good opportunity for our message coming out of the Libertarian Party, for regular citizens to step forward and put their name on the ballot, is that this is the 250th anniversary of the Revolutionary War. This is it. This is 250, right? And so we're 250 years in to this experiment. And I think there's a lot of opportunity in South Carolina to have these conversations about what was it like back then? What were the risks that those revolutionaries were willing to take? And then for us as candidates to step forward and say, hey, it's a little bit like that now in these ways, right? We're going to need for our citizens to be brave and to vote against the grain and to choose an independent or to choose a third party candidate, to pick a citizen who hasn't necessarily been in the political machinery before. I think it's going to feel like people are being really brave when they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. and now Kasie with a monologue.
Always with the monologue.
Always with the monologue.
We
Always
just
with
roll with it. We just roll with it.
it's a little bit like being on the radio with Casey Crow, where it's like, and then he goes, and then I'm like, and now we go to commercial. All right, what can the Libertarian Party do to support you right now? We are both of us registering as libertarians. We have our convention April 11th. Between now and then, of course, we want to reach out to our delegates, spend more time getting to know them so that they can get to know us as well. Of course, I'm in a statewide race, so I've been trying to go to all 46 counties. I've been to Williamsburg County and Horry County, and I've been to places like Greenville County and obviously Richland and all that, and been doing some events here and there. I get to do the Lexington chili cook-off in 2 weeks. I'm very excited about that.
That's going to be fun.
To go out to
Love a good chili cook-off.
And do a chili cook-off. I'm excited about that. We actually entered the chili cook-off, so we'll be making my Cincinnati chili for that. So that'll be a lot of fun. But what are some of the things that we think we need from our party? Because I will say one of the other third parties told me back in the fall that they aren't going to run a candidate for U.S. Senate because they don't have the statewide infrastructure to support a candidate for U.S. Senate. What are the things do you think we're going to need from the Libertarians?
Well, fortunately, back in 2022, as we were working on the gubernatorial race in that year, we actually started putting together and building this toolkit for candidates. And that was one of the big things that we made an initiative of in that campaign. And so, we have this set of resources that we've established for anybody who's wanting to run for any race. It doesn't matter if it's city council or the House of Representatives or the Senate. We have those tools and resources available to any candidate, which is really helpful, I think, in getting started, because it can be very overwhelming just getting started. And then I think, too, one of the things that we will need from our party is support. We need manpower because, again, we have to work extra hard, a lot harder than the other parties. So we need people to help with passing out literature, attending events. We need people to help with text banking and phone banking and whatever the things are that we're using to reach out to voters. We're always going to need manpower. So, and that is not limited to our party. That's anybody who wants to be involved. You don't have to be part of the Libertarian Party to be involved in our campaigns. If you want to be part of the process and you want to be part of change, we'll plug you in. We'll find a spot for you. So whatever your strengths are, you let us know and we'll hand you a shovel.
I think you mentioned before we're working on getting your website up and going, but that's my website, and we do have a volunteer form on there so people can fill it out and let us know what they're good at, what their talents are, and we'll use you as much or as little as you're willing to give as far as volunteers are concerned. But we need to have people in every county. We need to have folks for District 4, you've got Spartanburg County, Greenville County. We've got, of course, somebody running down in District 2, District 1, and where is it? Brian Correa, District 3. And so, when we think about these candidates that are going to be out door knocking, of course, those districts, it used to be that your congressional district represented maybe 300,000 people. But as the population of the United States has grown, congressional districts now represent 1 million people, right? There's just a tremendous number of people that you have to be able to speak to in order to help them understand that they don't just have to vote straight party ticket. They don't just have to vote for, the color or the team that they that they recognize from before. They need to get to know who the candidates are and give a chance to take a chance on an unknown kid, right? Take a chance on independents or on third party candidates. If you want something new, if you want something different, you're going to have to either vote for something new and something different, or be that something new, something different. there's still plenty of time for people who are considering stepping into that game, right? Still plenty of time because the registration for candidates is not until March 15th. And so if you have any idea, like maybe you ever even considered running for office, now's the time to start, either contact the Libertarian Party and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. What do you guys have to offer? And I put the website up here just a second ago because, as Jessica mentioned, we've got the resources there, but also just to be talking to people around you and say, would you support me if I did this, if I decided to step out into this? And like I said before, the thing that you care about the most, what is the most important thing to you? If it's education, then maybe you're running for the Board of Education, or maybe you're running for for state superintendent of education, if that's the most important thing to you. If the most important thing to you is South Carolina state income taxes, maybe you're running for the South Carolina General Assembly, right? Like there's the issues that really are the thing that you believe matters the most. And then who decides that issue? And then go and see if those seats are open. And if they are in the midterms, I mean, now's the time to be considering being a candidate and stepping forward.
Absolutely. And you would be amazed at how many offices are or seats or positions are running unopposed.
Oh
And
my gosh,
people,
yes.
so many people want change, but they don't have the option. So you never know when you might be that option. So it's something to think about too. And we actually have, the party keeps an outline of what those districts and seats are, positions are that are running unopposed. So if you have one in your area that you might be interested in, they can get you started too. So
That's right. And our hardest working member of our Libertarian Party, Melissa Kuchar, who's done all of the work on that and has built that out, she holds these weekly meetings for candidates and walks them through kind of what's expected of them and what the process will look like, and tries to ease them into it. So she really is a gentle guide through
and she's
that
done it.
process.
And
She
she's actually
has
run for office a couple of times.
multiple times in the Low Country. So, all right. Well, Jessica, welcome into the fray. And thank you. Thank you. I'm looking forward to campaigning with you
I know,
in
it's gonna be
District
fun.
4. It's going
It's
to be a
gonna
lot
be
of
fun.
fun. We know
Yeah.
we'll hit things like Artisphere up in Greenville. We know we'll try to get to some of those local events that you guys have up there, and just be out there on the street, shaking hands with people and getting to know people, and always wanting to make ourselves available to them and to really be as transparent and as authentic as we possibly can. So I'm looking forward to this year. I think we have a real opportunity in 2026. It doesn't have to be this way. We don't have to live under the craziness we've been living under. But we have to all decide together that we're going to do something different.
100%.
All right. This has been a reprise of our Libertarian Moms.
Maybe if we don't end up in Washington, we'll bring it back to life.
Parenting Porcupines gets another life in 2027 if Washington doesn't require our presence. So,
or maybe even if it does, if we're up there together, who knows?
Could be the way we unwind on a Saturday night, like it used to be.
I could be the mean mom. I could be the mean mom in the House of Representatives.
I love you so much. I'm excited about this. All right.
Too.
We'll see you guys out on the campaign trail. If you need anything at all, by all means, reach out and let us know. And we're looking forward to seeing you out in South Carolina this year. See you.